But my son was a fighter, and he fought all the way to the end, you know. And I just wish it never happened.
Heartbreak and confusion settling in for an area father tonight as he lives through his worst nightmare, any parent's worst nightmare. He'll never see his son alive again after he fell from an Orlando amusement park ride. I'm Samantha Jones. Corey has the night off. This teen's death making national headlines tonight. Tyree Sampson died after falling off of a free fall ride in Orlando at Icon Park. Tonight, his loved ones want to know how this happened. And new tonight, Gabriel Vidal is in studio with us after sitting down with Sampson's dad. And Gabby, he says that he found out about his son's death on social media.
Yeah, the worst way any parent can find out about their son's death. Now, 14-year-old Tyree Sampson was an 8th grade student at a charter school called Career Academy. His dad, who lives in the Metro East, tells me Tyree lived with his mother in Berkeley, Missouri. He says they raised an incredible.
Where do I go from here? Ain't no sleeping. Ain't no eating.
A father devastated after losing his teenage son.
He's a big teddy bear, gentle dying. He was a good young man.
Yarnell Sampson says 14-year-old Tyree Sampson was respectful, a good student, and passionate about going pro in football.
He was 6'5", 325 at 14 years old, playing left tackle. So that's a prime position. Plus he got NFL mentors, so he was definitely on the right path. And I was going to put him in a blue chip camp myself this summer. He the next big ticket. He was the next big thing out the loop.
Yarnell says Tyree was in Florida training with his teammates and coaches through the STL Bad Boys football program, but also taking time off to have some fun.
I was one of the last people to find out. I found out early this morning.
The father didn't learn Tyree fell off an amusement park ride at Icon Plaza in Orlando until after watching a viral video taken of the fall.
Can't watch.
Yarnell not only heartbroken, but also upset he wasn't there to protect his son.
And somebody have a few answers they need to answer, because I definitely got some questions.
What are those questions?
Why was he not properly put in the seating thing right? Maybe he was too big to get on that ride. Or maybe they weren't doing their job.
It's those questions racing through his mind as investigators start looking into the theme park ride Tyree got on, not knowing it would be the last thing he would do.
They could have stopped the roller coaster at the top. They could have had somebody, put some EMT paramedics. Fire department came up there, could have rescued anything. They didn't have to let the young man fall.
But for now, Yarnell says his focus is keeping his son's memory alive, ensuring similar tragedies moving forward.
All that I know is my son is in Orlando, Florida right now. And I want him home. And we're going to figure that out, me and my son's mother, and we're going to go from there.
Okay, we're going to stop right there. And we're going to talk about it. So, 14-year-old young man dies in Orlando, Florida, off an amusement park ride. This has to be every parent's nightmare. You send your son to have fun and train for football, vacation, to enjoy his childhood without you. Remind you, the parents are not there. And you receive a phone call saying your child had an accident. I'm sure that's how they stated it. We need you to come here. It's an emergency. We need you to get here as soon as possible. Like, that is a parent's worst nightmare. My heart goes out to the family. My condolences to the mother and father, as well as the teammates that were there. He was actually there to train for football. So my heart goes out to them as well, because they were front row and center of this young man losing his life. This is a tough story. He was 14 years old. Very promising career future. Weighed 360 something pounds, 14. They say he was 6'5", 6'7", very tall young man. As the father stated, he was the ticket out of the hood, out of the ghetto. That was their shining star. They was very proud of his accomplishments At 14, he was already going to be the athlete that everybody talked about, that everyone knew about. Lost his life at an amusement park because of the ride wasn't secure. So officials are saying it was his weight. He was too big to be on the ride. They also are saying that the ride would have never started if it wasn't secured at the beginning. So somewhere in this ride, going up and down on this ride, it became unsecure. That had to be a very dramatic feeling for the players that was there. That had to be very devastating to watch their player fall, not being able to help. And as the father stated, there are questions. Why was he allowed to even get on the ride? Officials say he was turned away from a few rides earlier that day. So there's always a weight requirement or height requirement on these rides. Why was this any different from any other ride? And I do understand you don't want to be the person to tell young kids, hey, you can't get on this ride, you're too big, or hey, you can't get on this ride, you're too short or you're too tall. I understand that, but that's your job. That could have saved this young man's life, but you didn't do that. You allowed him to get on this ride. He went up and he lost his life. As of now, the young man's body is still in Orlando, Florida, and his family is trying to retrieve his body to be shipped back to their hometown. We don't have any further updates at this moment. There was a press conference stating that they will start using seatbelts, and also they rely on the manual, to tell them suggestions about the ride. But that's true. They rely on the manuals. But you have to think about these. Some of these rides come from overseas. They're not made here in the United States. And why wouldn't you add any ride? This is just a public awareness. Start adding seatbelts. Start adding additional safety measures, because this is not the first time someone's lost their life to an accident, to an amusement park ride. And if people don't start taking additional methods for our safety, this is not going to be the last time. This young man was 14 years old, a very bright future in front of him, gone in a blink of an eye because the park failed to stop him from getting on that ride, because the park failed to have additional safety gear. And as the father stated, they could have stopped the ride at the top and not allow the young man to fall. But neither one of us was there. We don't know the circumstances. Maybe they did try. But all we can say is this is a life that was precious that we're not going to be able to get back. My heart goes out to the family again. We don't have any further updates, but once they come in, we will definitely let you know. Please just have him on your prayer list tonight. Him and his family and the team, have them on your prayer list tonight, because they will need it. These kids will need it. His teammates will need help getting over this or getting through this. This is not going to be something that's going to wash away so easily. But as we get updates, we will definitely let you know. Thank you so much for watching True News with Charlene. Enjoy your night.